thing at that point. Now we talking about poverty franchise.
No. Listen, plus years, yo. I'm still here.
We could have won a championship when everybody like really was at their best. Like everybody was healthy, everything clicked in the right places at every meet. We was just at our best during this season. And
Man, glad.
We used to call him Bubble Wrap Davis. Bubble Wrap Davis. That boy needs some bubble wrap. Back everybody to Bmore Sports Talk, the official podcast of the home team. I am your host Eric, and I'm here with my co-host
Trey Ball, Trey for three. What's up, everybody? For those who don't know, once again, I'm your boy Trey. Trey43 is where you can find me on all my social media, and I'm the official co-host of my man E here on the BmorePod Sports Talk.
Let's go, man.
Let's get it, man. Another show, action-packed one, man.
Yeah,
we got a lot to talk about today. Like it's been, like we were saying off air, news at the news, at the breaking news, at the breaking news,
just
trade
jumping
at the
off.
extension, at the contract, at the arrest, everything,
I
man.
know,
So we got ourselves a show today.
Yeah. Before we get started, though, we just like to thank everybody for tuning in. Make sure y'all hit that like, share, and subscribe button. We really appreciate it. And we're gonna jump right into it. So
Let's get it.
Let's talk some draft talk a little bit.
Yeah, I mean the draft was definitely something that, you know, I'd say was probably one of the less anticipated drafts of the last few years. There was, but it was also ironically one of the first drafts in a while where there was a lot of unknowns at the top. Like, yes, as we're about to discuss, the number one overall pick was a guy that a lot of people projected, but he wasn't the only guy being projected to go number one. The guy that went number two also got a lot of projections at number one. So it wasn't maybe a true toss-up, but it did fit. It definitely was far from a given of who was going number one this year. So I think that those two things are interesting. You know, the fact that there wasn't a clear number one and that the draft itself wasn't this highly anticipated draft, which the two things don't have to be, you know, mutually exclusive or inclusive. So it's just interesting that that's the way it played out this year.
Yeah. So who went number one was AJ, and it was such a heartfelt video watching him before the draft. I mean, in prayer, it's just no telling what's going through these players' minds, like when they're getting drafted. I mean, it's like a dream come true. Now they get to actually live out their dream. So we actually have that clip of AJ where he just was kind of talking to God. And then when they called his name, he just got up and hugged his family. So let's go ahead and run that AJ clip.
With the first pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Washington Wizards select Anise DeBonsa Jr.
And man, that's a special moment. Moment. So he went to the Wizards, so hopefully he can make them better, man.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they're like I talked about a little bit last week. They're kind of projecting upwards right now. I mean, you got AJ that you bring in, who some people say has shades of Jaylen Brown to his game, and you team him up with a guy like Trae Young at point, and then Anthony Davis when he's healthy, you know, there in the paint and on the wing. I think that's a pretty solid core to build the rest of your team around, and I think that the Wizards have really made some interesting and honestly respectable and commendable moves over the last year or so, or at least over the last 6 months, and have given their fans a lot to be excited about, and I think they got good reason this time.
Yeah, I can definitely see him improving Trae, especially with getting Trae Young. You know what I mean? Adding some pieces. So Not saying they're gonna go to the playoffs. I could definitely see them winning more.
They
games.
could though, but they could. Like I don't think that, especially in the East, I don't think that making the playoffs is some far flung thing. Yeah, right. I think they definitely got a chance. Especially with a lot of the pieces that have moved around lately, the hierarchy of the league, and especially in the East, has changed quite a bit over the last week. So I think the Warriors got as good a chance at any middling, just outside the playoff type scene.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let's move on to some of this draft talk because the news has just been jumping off and off and off. All right, so this is old news, but Giannis got traded to the Miami Heat.
Yep, as you can guess, since I'm not wearing my Celtics gear today. Yeah, we lost that sweepstakes. And from reports it seemed like that one came down to the Celtics not being willing to trade away some of their younger pieces like Baylor and Hugo, while also the Blazers being unsure and kind of having some trepidation about the fact that Jaylen Brown might not stick around long term.
Right.
So those two factors kind of mixed into it just not being an appealing enough deal and the Celtics not willing to give enough otherwise. So it was really like it's like, what more can you do at that point, you know? So they ended up going in the other direction, went with the Heat, who essentially gave up all of their future draft capital.
As you can see, that's a lot.
Yeah, they gave up a lot to get them. They gave up, and these are just the players. And then you got the 3 first-round picks down there that they received as well. So I mean, there's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot to give up. They gave up literally their entire bench and future for the most part. So they kind of went in the win now mode, which I don't really know if their team is constructed even after all this to really be in to actually win. But this move screams win now or compete now.
Yeah, I think they got to acquire some more pieces.
Yeah, because Giannis is Giannis, but we've seen Giannis fall short in his last few years with the Bucks for a reason. It's because they didn't have enough around him.
Right.
Giannis's first few years of superstardom, they had that great cash. They had Drew Holiday there. They had all these other pieces around Giannis that really allowed for some good basketball. So now we're at a point where I don't think that Bam, again, even in a weak East, I don't think that Bam and Giannis by themselves are enough to strike like fear into playoff contenders' hearts,
Right.
So I
could they be the Knicks team? I can't see that.
Yeah, like they're not on the Knicks' level yet. Right. I think that they're probably somewhere around. They're probably a tier below the Celtics as the Celtics stand right now. Now, a Celtics without Jaylen Brown, I think the Miami Heat may be above right now, given the depletion of the Celtics' bench over the last few years.
Right.
But that's kind of in a world where the Celtics don't get anything immediately contributable back in a Jaylen Brown trade. Right. Because the other side of this is the fact that because the Celtics lost that sweepstakes, but were open about the fact that Jaylen Brown was included in the trade, a guy who is, essentially your franchise or semi-franchise player, it's like, okay, well, this relationship is essentially, if it isn't beyond repair now, we can see the writing on the wall and it's going to be soon. So now the Celtics,
they're basically shopping him around, right?
They're forced to shop him around. So they have to settle for a secondary trade instead of getting Giannis back for Jaylen Brown. And who's to say exactly what they'll get from her? I've heard reports that they're talking 3 or 4 first-round picks or equivalent type players.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot
for Jaylen Brown, and there's been some kickback on if that's a overpay, like if that's the actual cost for Jaylen Brown, is that how much Jaylen Brown is worth? And I mean, the guy was in MVP conversations for a portion of the year, and definitely carried the Celtics without Jason Tatum there. But it's an interesting situation to see where the Celtics are now in and where they end up. Like, how different will this team look, let's say 3 months from now? Who's to say? So
it's gonna be interesting.
A lot is gonna come, is gonna shake out from this Giannis trade.
All right, let's move on to the LaMelo Ball trade, which personally shocked me because I feel like Charlotte was getting better. I feel like that they were playing better, especially last year. They were coming on strong, and then to get one of your main pieces who was playing real good ball.
Well, at this point. We'll talk about it a little bit later. But Miles Bridges,
that just happened. So ESPN gave it a D+. I wouldn't have gave it that bad of a I would give it
a grade for the Timberwolves. They give Timberwolves a B plus.
I will at least give it a C. And
because they didn't get any picks.
Yeah, and I think they gave it a D plus because they gave up size.
I get it.
They got smaller. You mean
but they gave up size and future draft capital. That's a lot of draft capital to give up for.
Yeah.
I mean, I think LaMelo Ball is a great young player, but I don't think that he's like a top 5 player in his position. And I don't think that especially also considering that they sent Naz Reid as well, who was a nice contributing player in their team chemistry. I kind of agree with the trade. I mean, it makes headlines. It's a sensational move. Melo, Ant-Man on the same team in the same backcourt,
which is gonna be crazy.
Yeah, it's gonna be. But like, who else do they have? Like, who's gonna help them against the bruisers, against the 7-footers, against the Jokic, against against those kind of players?
Yeah.
Like, I think they gave up too much. Yeah, and they could have gotten this trade off for less.
Yeah.
So I can see why we're in the D plus range for
right. So now they're gonna be trying to pick up a big man in free agency.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, there are some being floated around here and there, but a lot of them are getting signed and picked up. Like we were just talking about off camera, we might as well get into it. Like we got a bunch of other free agent moves.
Yeah, Miles Bridges was traded as well. That happened earlier today. Let's go ahead and throw that up there.
Yeah, Miles Bridges got his was traded away. You had Al Horford. I mean, he's old, but
Grayson Allen, Royce O'Neal, and then I don't think they gave up too much for.
No, I think that's a okay trade. I mean, there was like some pick swaps in there, but I think that the Suns come out on top in that trade. But I don't think that Phoenix gave up too much, especially given what all they just got for LaMelo Ball. They kind of, like you said, it's surprising that they did it, but they have kind of imploded their team and are going to start from the ground up. And I think it's because they honestly overachieved. I think that's what it was last year. I think it was them overachieving. Like, they got better and they made it to the playoffs, but I think that they did much better than people were expecting. And I think that there was already potentially a plan in place with the Hornets, and they were like, well, let's still keep that plan going, and I guess we can accelerate it even more by getting rid of these guys who have now increased their trade value by overperforming this season. So I see where the Hornets are going with it, especially because going into last season, I didn't expect the Hornets to be, this playoff contender.
I don't think anybody did.
So I get that. But just to let's run down some of these other trades though, or transactions, because a lot happened, man.
I mean, what about the big bag Reeves, man? That Reeves deal. I mean, I feel like they gave him a little bit too much, man.
The Reeves contract. Yeah, the Reeves contract is a like I told you when we talked about it when it first dropped, which was off air. I think that given the current. It depends on what their current plans are for the Lakers, but I think that it's not a huge overpay. I think that he's a great running mate for Luka. He's not, this superstar in his own right, but I think that he's a great running mate for Luka. And then depending on what they plan to do with the rest of their roster, whether that's with or without LeBron James, I think that's what will determine how good this move was how good or how much money they were able to play with, and how what kind of caliber player they were able to get to be the role players around those two. Yeah.
And speaking of LeBron, and I'm gonna let you run down those. LeBron still hasn't got a contract offer yet.
Yep, still nothing from LeBron.
Still no offer yet.
There's a lot going. There's a lot of rumors going out there. I mean, there's rumors that the Warriors are now after LeBron and AD. That was the rumors that was kind of prevalent in quite a few places before today. And now, just in the last hour, the news dropped that the Warriors have extended Kristaps Porzingis on a 2-year, $40 million extension. So the question now becomes, does that move eliminate AD from joining the Warriors? And if so, does that eliminate LeBron from joining the Warriors?
Right, because if AD joins, that's definitely going to lure LeBron. I mean, it'll be easier to lure LeBron if they get AD.
But does the signing of Porzingis mean that they've already tried and failed to trade for AD? Because it would be a trade for AD at this point. It's really interesting to see how that's going to shake out still.
And then tomorrow free agency begins, so we're going to see tons of moves.
Yeah, so it's. I mean,
and you go ahead and run down.
It's already started. Go ahead. the free agency frenzy has already started, even though people haven't started signing, because a lot of people are signing back with their current teams, declining player options to sign new deals with their current teams, which changes the landscape of free agency tomorrow. So just to run down a few here, you had Al Horford, who was amazingly 40 years old, one of only 13 players now to reach 20 seasons in the NBA. He declined his player option and signed a new 2-year deal to stay with the Warriors. So he went off the market before free agency began. Kobe White signed a 3-year, $74 million deal to return to the Hornets. So he's going to essentially be part of that core moving forward that they rebuild around. That was an interesting move for them. Mark Williams from the Suns signed a 3-year deal to return there. Isaiah Joe. That was actually an interesting one. Isaiah Joe, the sharpshooter for the Thunder, got traded to the Detroit Pistons for two second-round picks. Okay, so that was an interesting move too. Yeah, the Pistons got a little bit better, and the Thunder got a little bit worse because he was a nice contributing role player for them. So that's interesting to see. But I mean, we had all kinds of stuff happening. Jose Alvarado signed a new 3-year deal to return to the Knicks. Isaiah Hartenstein signed a new 3-year deal to return to the Thunder. So yes, they lost. Well, not lost because they traded him away. But yes, they lost Isaiah Joe, but they retained Hartenstein for the Thunder. That core kind of stays intact.
Lou Dort, did they? I think I heard something about that. Are they gonna pick up his?
I did see the Lou Dort thing. I didn't write that one down, but I'll swing back around to it because I got a full list here, so I'm sure I can find it. Fred VanVleet, he is opted into his player option.
He didn't play at all last year.
Guard with the Rockets. Yeah, he didn't play. So the fact that he was able to opt into that $25 million player option was nice. James Harden declined his player option, but it's because they're working on a new multi-year deal for him. So expect that news to get discussed next week. Yep, we're gonna be talking about a Harden contract next week. Zach LaVine opted into his $49 million player option. Draymond Green declined his player option, which is what fueled those rumors about AD and LeBron joining the Warriors, because Draymond declining his option allows them the financial flexibility to make those offers, sign those players, and then kind of work with Draymond to sign a deal with whatever's left over. So it's a team-friendly move that Draymond did, essentially, because Draymond doesn't intend on going anywhere else. Yes, he declined his player option, but he intends to stay with the Golden State Warriors. So that was interesting news. That's what spurred all that talk. DeAndre Ayton opted into his $8 million player option with the Lakers. How you feel about that?
I don't like it. I feel like he's not the big man they need.
And then one big sign, and that kind of goes back to what we were talking about with the Heat, and not sure if Giannis and Bam would be enough, is the fact that they did sign Andrew Wiggins to an extension. So he signed the 3-year, $64 million extension. So he's going to be there for 3 more years with a player option that last year. So he's part of that core with Giannis and Bam. And I think that Wiggins has definitely played well enough, especially since that championship with the Warriors a few years ago, to definitely earn himself that kind of consideration. Marcus Smart declined his player option with the Lakers, so he's going to be a free agent.
And that'll be a good piece for anybody to pick up. I mean, him coming off the bench definitely could provide some points and defense.
Yep, he could potentially return to the Celtics especially if they're getting rid of Jaylen Brown. So I think a lot of people will be interested in Marcus Smart come tomorrow.
Veteran player,
Bradley Beal is going to test free agency. He declined his player option with the Clippers. And then the big news from today that we haven't yet talked about, right? The Ja Morant.
Oh, yeah. Ja Morant was traded to the Blazers.
Yeah, so that was our big news for today. Ja Morant. But it wasn't super shocking because we talked about that last week too. Like there's rumors swirling, maybe they get rid of him. But then I think that kind of calmed down at least a little bit when in the draft last week, the Grizzlies drafted Boozer.
Boozer, yeah.
So it was like, okay, Boozer, Ja together, I might can see something there. It'd be interesting to see. And it's like, no, they're actually trading away their franchise player because they found their next franchise player. So Ja Morant is now in Portland on the Trailblazers
with Dame
and Drew Holiday. So an interesting 3-man squad.
They got a little squad.
I think it just doesn't move me much. And I mean, feel free to let me know how you feel about this squad now. But it just doesn't move me much given Dame's age, coming off the injury, and then Drew Holiday, still a good defender, but is also up there in age now. And so Ja Morant is far younger than both of them, and I just think that they're going to need some more young energy on that team around those three to help supplement the age of Drew and Dame.
Yeah, it's going to be
at this point, as it stands right now, I'm not sure if this is a playoff team. Not in the West. You know, I mean, they're in the West.
Yeah, they're probably definitely going to pick up some more players.
Yeah,
I see them making moves
I would
tomorrow.
need to see more there, but that was definitely an interesting one to see just because of where he ended up going.
Right.
I mean, because I think that Ja could have went a lot of other places that would have really moved me. You know, regardless of what his off the court stuff is, and even the antics on the court with the celebrations and stuff. Regardless of all that, I think that Ja is the type of player that if he went to the right situation, can help push a team over the hump of winning a championship. But I don't think that Portland is that team.
I hear you. Hey, shout out to the chat. We appreciate y'all. Barbie Cat says, what do y'all think about Anthony Davis trade rumors to the Warriors?
Oh, yeah. What's up, Barbie Cat? I'm sure you caught that we already kind of touched on that. Probably after you put up your question, though. But either way, it kind of depends because at this point they've re-signed Porzingis.
Yeah,
and I mean $40 million isn't a lot of money in the NBA, like not crazy money in the NBA,
right?
But it's not nothing to sneeze at either. And given that they're also supposed to be re-signing Draymond after he declined his player option, I'm not certain, but the re-signing of Porzingis may have been
canceled that out.
Yeah, that may have been writing on the wall there. And the AD rumors may be dead. If not, they're holding on right now by a thread.
Hey, what up, Flow Express? What's up, BmorePod? Wow, Ja. Yes, Ja. Yeah, when I saw it, I was like, wow. I was surprised. I was more surprised at where he went, not the fact that he got traded.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying, man. Yeah, I mean, and I think, especially considering, like we said, all the antics that went around, I think that, you know, Memphis has kind of soured on him a little bit too. So I think they were more open to moving on from him. Especially for a guy whose play style may not be sustainable long term, you know, as he ages, if he doesn't grow his game. And I think that Boozer is a potentially good replacement for Ja as far as a franchise piece to build around. So that's going to be interesting to see.
It is. All right. Before we move on, let's read this last question. I'm surprised that teams are still willing to invest in Anthony Davis.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, I get it when you look at the size, when you look at the clear skill that's there when he's on the court.
Right.
But it's like how, like, you have to, when deciding if you want Anthony Davis on your team, it's like, is my team good enough to win X amount of games without Anthony Davis?
Yeah.
Because that's the question you have to ask yourself. How many games can we win without Anthony Davis? How many games can we project Anthony Davis to be good for at minimum?
Right, that's what I was going to say. Like,
if and when the injury inevitably comes, you can't control whether it's early in the season and minor or towards the end of the season and major. You know, so a lot goes into that. So you know,
I feel like health is number one.
A talented Mr. Glass is quite the conundrum to
bubble wrap.
Davis. So like the intro says. So it's
crazy.
I get it though. So I'm not surprised that they're still willing to invest in him, even at his age, because he's you know, well into his 30s now. So that on top of the injuries is like, wow. But still, I mean, I remember when AD was first coming into the league and he was one of those, you know, generational type talents that they talked about. That was the hype around him. Coming out of Kentucky, the brow, you know, like that, he was huge. And he still very much has a lot of that in him. So I get it. I'm not surprised is my short answer, but it's because of, you know, who he is, you know, the physique. Like, yes, it's an often injured physique, but it's still a physically imposing physique. And he's clearly good at his game. I mean, this is a guy that's a former point guard that only became a big man because of a freakish growth spurt. So, like, he has the skill. And at this point, it's all about the best ability, which is availability.
Yes. All right, well, we're gonna have lots of more NBA talk next week because the the free agency starts tomorrow, so there's gonna be lots of moves. So let's move on to World Cup.
Let's talk about it, man. The World Cup has been kind of the talk of the town a little bit. You know,
USA took their first L.
Yeah, USA took their first L right at the end of the group stage. Lost to Turkey in a soul crushing defeat. Honestly, I think Turkey scored that game winning goal in like the 88th or 89th minute.
Yeah,
it was essentially it was not much better than a buzzer beater almost.
Yeah.
So it was a tough loss, but they still won the group phase and still advanced out of it.
Yeah, they play tomorrow.
Yep. So they'll be playing Wednesday.
Wednesday they got Bosnia.
Playing against Bosnia. Yeah, Bosnia merged with another country.
Yeah.
So they'll be playing Bosnia on Wednesday. They got Pulisic back, who played, several minutes coming back from injury in their last game. Missed some shots, but looked very confident.
Yeah.
So I think that having him back and having him back for even more minutes than he played in the last game is going to spell well for them. So hopefully they come out of that on top.
Yeah, I hope so, man. The World Cup's been exciting. It's a lot of energy, fun to watch, and I've been enjoying it.
Definitely, for sure. I mean, there were some other big things that happened, like Messi has scored again.
Yeah, again.
First, I think he's now the first player to score in 7 different World Cups,
which is wild.
Which is crazy. Yeah, because Ronaldo just had a record that he broke, which was like first player to score in X amount of consecutive World Cups, but Messi now has this record for total World Cups, having scored in with 7. So shout out to both of those GOATs still being great. Mbappe is also in the running for that Golden Boot award. So a lot is going on in the World Cup world, and it's just, there was a dramatic finish earlier today. I think Brazil essentially hit themselves a buzzer beater game winner against Japan to eliminate Japan from the World Cup. So a lot is going on in the World Cup, and it seems like for the vibe that I get from online and from people who are experiencing these things, especially in these host cities, there's a lot of great vibes, a lot of mixing of culture, and a lot of appreciation for the lives and experiences of other people that's going on. And that's kind of what I spoke to last week. And I was telling people to if you can get out there and experience these things, even if you're not going to the game, be around the stadium or, go out to a bar the day of a game.
So much good energy.
Just soak up those vibes and that culture and really understand how big this sport is to the rest of the world.
Yes. All right, y'all. We'll be back. We got a packed show, but we're going to play some clips. We'll be right back at you. Thank you for tuning in to Bmore Sports Talk.
BRB.
All right, my name is David.
BmorePod is more than just a podcast. BmorePod Studios is an entire network.
We gonna have Michael Jackson back alive for GTA 6.
And speaking, let me just hop on the chat real quick. I see we got something that say Big Dana, not the little one. Hey sis, who that? So I got a game today that's kind of like, let me I think I wrote a title for it today. Last week I had a title. This is this is quite easy. It's called Finish the Line. 85 to 95 edition. All of y'all were alive during those years, weren't you? Between 85 and 95. Except for Dana. Everybody else was
that's like you giving a Ferrari to a 16-year-old who just got his license.
I agree.
I want them to get the money and they deserve the money. But at the end of the day, it's just like now they just chasing the money. Now you got
news came out today that he might miss more time because his knee is swelling. So if Durant is out, that definitely gives Lakers a little bit of an advantage, even with them missing people, because Durant is just star player on the team. So I feel like this can help the Lakers, and Luka could probably come back if they could extend this series.
BmorePod Studios. Subscribe.
The altar is a worship experience recorded in one take, like a Sunday morning. A new episode airs every Monday at 7 p.m. Whether you watch it sitting down or standing up, we hope that these worship experiences will truly bless you. The change starts at the altar.
Lord, you have been good to me.
So, Real quick before we jump into some other sports, two things that we wanted to mention about the topics we just mentioned. One, big news in the NBA world, that gambling scandal that started a year ago or so with Terry Rozier and Chauncey Billups and others getting arrested, indicted, and things like that.
Right.
A new member has been added to their ranks, unfortunately. Former player Malik Beasley was recently indicted on these gambling charges as well. And I mean, Twitter kind of jumped right on it. I saw a tweet like an hour or two later where it was like, man, Malik Beasley been gambling, and they showed this clip. And I meant to send it to you and I forgot. So we'll show it. I'll send it to you so we can show it next week. Y'all gotta see this.
Okay.
But like Malik Beasley, the game is over. It's like 4.2 seconds left in the game.
I've seen this.
They're winning the game.
Okay.
They inbound the ball. He gets the ball in the inbound, and he sprints the length of the court to dunk the ball right to. No, they're losing the game, so he dunked the ball to cut the lead from 9 to 7. Yeah, and the spread was 8.5. So his dunk took it from above to below.
Oh man!
And so people was like, but it was so weird, like how desperate he was. Like he ran down the court like a madman for this pointless bucket.
Yeah.
4 seconds left in the game that you're down by 9 points, and you're sprinting the length of the court to get this random bucket at the end of the game. Like he scored, and it was like 0.1 seconds left on the clock. Like he literally
obvious you're sports betting.
Yeah, you know. So
what you doing?
That was crazy. So I had to bring that up, and you know, I'll bring the clip next week so that we can run the clip.
I want to see that next week.
Man, looking at it and knowing what we know now, it's like, oh my goodness, that was blatantly obvious. Like that was bad. That was bad. But that was the one thing, and the other thing was just some breaking news that just dropped with Germany getting eliminated from the World Cup. So Germany just got eliminated from the World Cup. They lost to Paraguay in the round of 32. It's crazy because Germany has not won a knockout game, so a game in this round, around of 32 or later, since they played in the World Cup final in 2014. They have not even gotten past the first knockout round again. So
that's terrible.
But this is another upset for them. Germany was a projected favorite, one of the top countries in the World Cup, and they've been upset by Paraguay. So I wanted to drop that in real quick too before we get to our next awesome piece of news that you got right there sitting on your lap.
Yes. Shakira from our very own production team ran the Charm City 51st annual MedStar Classic 5K. Congrats, Shakira.
Yeah, shout out to Shakira. Yeah, we got her medal. Yeah, we're gonna hang it in the rafters, put it in the trophy case.
Congrats. Shakira does it all. Congrats, girl.
Shout out to her.
Yeah,
we got something to play for that, right? We got a clip on that.
Do we all? We got. Go ahead,
awesome.
girl.
Shout out again to Kira.
Yeah, Kira,
that's
we
great
see
stuff, man. That's definitely something to hang your hat on. I mean, there are millions of people in this world that cannot run a 5K right now. Couldn't run it if you gave them 30 days to prepare for it. So shout out to you for both participating and completing that. That's definitely an achievement. Shout out to
Got
Shakira.
your medal right here. Yeah. All right, let's move on to that Boots Ennis fight, man.
Yeah, man, Boots Ennis with another victory. He stays undefeated.
Wasn't really much to see because it was a quick fight. I mean, dude knocked Zayas out.
So, I mean, we got about halfway. Yeah. I mean,
he went down in the first round.
Yeah, a couple knockouts, right? We have three knockouts in the fight. So, but another victory for Boots Ennis, stays undefeated.
35-0.
That's impressive. Yeah. Definitely impressive.
And Zayas is not a slouch. We actually have a clip. Quick clip of the knockdown. So let's go ahead and run that Boots Ennis clip. So with that, when he Ennis secures the WBA and WBA junior middleweight and super welterweight titles, becoming a unified champion because in two different weight classes.
Yeah, man.
Yes, now he's a unified champ, 35-0. So
and I mean that looked like a pretty convincing victory to me.
Yeah.
I mean, when you take somebody's will to fight, especially early on in the fight, like we're not even at the point where we're like, once you get to around like rounds 9, 10, it's like you really start to see fatigue, and you have to be pretty much as strategic, if not more, than you were in those first 2 rounds. But to see him and quit and give up, just in the middle of a fight, goes to show the technique that went into that victory by Boots. So again, shout out to Boots, man, for the win.
Yes,
and staying undefeated.
Yeah, shout out to Boots. Other boxing news: Clarissa Shields is dropping 3 weight classes to take on Kay Scott in August. I just think this is super dope because to drop 3 weight classes, that's a lot of work.
Yeah,
a lot of dedication.
I'm concerned though, honestly. I'm going.
And this is a highly anticipated fight.
Because I mean, Clarissa Shields, she's a demon, but to drop 3 weight classes, like, is she going to be able to adjust for the subsequent loss in power that comes with that? Because I think that's where she most of her game comes from. That's where she thrives in, is the use of her power, both her power and her size, to just overwhelm fighters, even other strong or powerful fighters.
Right,
they can't withstand her for a full bout. So to drop down 3 weight classes, I mean, I think it'll give her more energy, more endurance, because she's going to be lighter. She's going to be moving lighter, but the lack of power that comes with that has me a little concerned. So I'm interested to see how this goes.
Very interesting. Like, I can understand 1, but 3, that's a big drop.
A huge drop.
That's a big drop. Let me see. I think we have some other news. Oh yeah, the Baltimore Nighthawks.
Yeah, some interesting news there.
And that is a full contact women's football. They played
full contact
women's football. They played
just football, but women are playing it.
Right,
straight up football.
They played the West Palm Beach Coyotes, scored 15-6. So now they're in the second round of the playoffs.
Wow!
Shout out to the
West Palm. So this is a nationwide kind of thing. This is like they got teams in multiple states here. Like
that's D-Nice. Actually, you play for them? Yeah,
we
got our very own D-Nice in the crowd. That's a player. Yeah, shout out to D-Nice.
Shout out to D-Nice and those Baltimore Nighthawks, and really doing their thing. Like that's something to commend. Once again, like a win is a win, but when you can win in a situation like this in the playoffs and advance and feel like you one step closer to achieving a goal, is always something that gets you giddy. So shout out to y'all,
Nighthawks. When y'all play again, because we're going to keep us updated. Okay,
July 11th, they'll be playing again. So 2 weeks, the second round of the playoffs. So shout out to the Baltimore Nighthawks. Make sure that y'all check them out. Where can we catch y'all at? We're going to be Archbishop Spalding. Okay, Archbishop Spalding, July 11th. That's a field that actually has some close ties to my heart, because it's where I both won and lost. In my high school state football championships. So we lost my junior year on Archbishop Spalding's field in the championship, and the senior year came back and played the same team again and beat them to win our championship and end our undefeated season with a championship. So Spalding is close to my heart, so I might pull up just off the strength of that. But if you're able, July 11th, check out the Baltimore Nighthawks in their second playoff game, second round of the playoffs at Archbishop Spalding.
And we'll have the recap on the 12th.
For sure.
We'll make sure we had a recap for you on the 12th.
Hopefully we're recapping another W.
Yes. Good luck. Good luck to the Warhawks. All right, let's move on to tennis. Serena,
big news.
She's returning to Wimbledon.
Yep, Serena is back. She's back at Wimbledon. A tournament that she has been very successful in the past.
14 titles.
Yep. So, and if I'm not mistaken, she's not just in the singles. I think she's also doing doubles with Venus. So it's a return for Serena, both in the singles and the doubles. And we're only a year out of her retirement, 2 years. I think she's been retired for less than 3 years.
I would say 3.
But so Serena's back. It's gonna be interesting to see how she does, especially at a on a court that she has had immense success in the past. So shout out to Serena. Hopefully she keeps it up and adds on to that that GOAT title that she has as one of the truly greatest athletes of all time.
And that's going down tomorrow at 11:20. She's going against Maya Joint, so that should be very interesting.
Make sure y'all check it out. 11:20.
Just to see her back on, what I'm saying, playing. That's
making
super
a comeback.
exciting.
Didn't see it coming. I mean, I thought when she was done that she was done. It just seemed like it kind of had like a level of finality to it. Like it felt like she was really satisfied with her place. And as a viewer of the sport, it felt satisfying. It did feel like she had essentially accomplished all there was to accomplish. But to see it comes back is not surprising as far as, like thinking in the mind of an athlete, the mind of a competitor, especially when you feel like you still got it. Sometimes, you got to get back out there, even if it's just to show yourself that you don't have it anymore. Right. You got to get back out there. It's hard to ignore that call. So I get it. Shout out to Serena and best of luck to her. Hopefully we're talking about another successful Wimbledon for Serena Williams.
Yes, indeed. All right. Moving on to MLB. It's been disappointing.
Yep.
4-6 in the last 10 games. Struggled again in the series against the Nationals. We won 1 game.
Yeah. About more to say. Like we were saying, it's starting to get tired, sounding like this broken record. But
I know
the Orioles and their lack of consistency is going to be their downfall. They have some really high highs and some really low lows. And if they can even play middle of the pack more often, I think that the overall product would be more worthwhile to watch.
Right. And Trey, we're not getting blown out. A lot of these losses are 1-2 run games that we just can't close out games, can't play good defense.
Between not being able to close out and pitching and defense it's same old story. But hopefully they turn it around soon. We're not giving up on the O's yet. That Orioles magic is very real. We believe in it, and hopefully them boys bounce back soon.
I know, I hope so. All right, let's move on to our spotlight moment, which goes to Candace Parker. She got inducted in the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame on Saturday. For y'all that don't know, Candace Parker was drafted number 1 in 2008, 16-year career, 3-year champion, and she played for the Sparks, Sky, and Aces, and she got a ring with all 3. Let's go.
Another one of the true trailblazers and icons, not just of women's basketball, but of women's sport.
Yes.
So shout out to Candace Parker, much deserved accomplishment there. Hall of Fame is, where she was always headed. And now she's there. Shout out to her joining the ranks of Lisa Leslie and others before her. Very well deserved. Went out on top. Congratulations, Candace Parker.
And I feel she could have had a longer career if she didn't get injured at the end of her career. They're saying that injury was like pretty bad. It was hard for her to go on.
Yeah, to continue to bounce back and perform at that level again or at a similar level. I get it.
Yep.
Bounce to some
NFL.
Yeah, let's talk about
let's do it.
We had a bit of news there as well.
Yeah, bit of news.
Especially today. You want to start with the breaking news from today?
Terrion.
Yeah.
Arnold.
Terrion Arnold, man. Cornerback for the Detroit Lions, former first-round pick of the last 3 years, I think either 2 or 3 years ago, was officially for those who don't know, he got arrested in connection to a armed robbery and kidnapping scheme that allegedly stemmed from some merchandise being stolen from him, allegedly.
A rental home, like $200K.
Yeah, and he was trying to get back those items or get back at the people who did that. And it's kind of up in the air on if the people he actually ended up assaulted were even the people that committed the initial crime that he's trying to get retribution for. But ultimately, he was arrested in connection with that. And then today it was determined that his bond was set at $1 million, but they did not refuse him a bond. Like, prosecution wanted to refuse him bail, but the judge said no. He was granted bail at $1 million. But the way this court case is looking, it doesn't look good for Terrion Arnold. It does very much seem like he was not only implicated, but potentially a mastermind behind it, though he didn't participate in the act itself. So all that resulted in, a few hours ago, the Detroit Lions decided to release Terrion Arnold from their football team. So,
sounds like he just kind of ruined his career. He just threw it down the drain.
Yeah, I mean, he has struggled a bit over the last couple of years, but, had the opportunity and the ability to bounce back. His career was far from over. Like we said, a very recent first-round pick.
Yeah.
But it does seem like, at least for the short term, his career is done.
I mean, if that stuff was stolen, you could have made that back. You're an NFL player. You're
a millionaire. You're a millionaire deciding to commit felonies for a couple $100,000 worth of merchandise that you could have and probably should have had insured, and should have just been able to keep it pushing. Took the loss, felt the loss, but been able to recuperate it given your financial status. So seemingly a bonehead mistake. that we see a lot in usually when it's funny because usually when guys get in trouble in the league, it's usually guys, unless it's like something extremely serious, which this very much is, but a lot of the times it's guys on their rookie contract still that are making these mistakes. Young guys, you know, and that's no type of excuse, you know. He allegedly did this crime and if so should do time. But it's just sad when you see people who have not reached a certain level of maturity and experience make, you know, such life-altering decisions and mistakes. So hopefully whatever ended up happening to Terry and Arnold, he's able to come to terms with the decision he made, how he got himself here, and is able to bounce back in some kind of way to continue to find something of worth in his life moving forward. So some bit of a bummer news to start the day, but a lot of news, quite a bit of news happening in the football world. What else we got?
The Bills are denying to honor OJ in the new stadium. I feel like they're trying to erase his legacy.
Yeah, that's a tough conversation, and that's why I wanted you to throw that one in, because it's, for those who don't know, I mean, I'm sure everybody knows who OJ is and you know what his case was, but the Buffalo Bills, who's the team that OJ Simpson played majority of his career for, and is one of the greatest players in Bills history and in NFL history. They're opening a new stadium this year. They're honoring a bunch of their legends within that stadium, and OJ Simpson is not going to be one of those legends. And it's I don't know, like, it's kind of when people try to say that you have to or you should separate art from the person and stuff like that. At what point does that go from being acceptable to being unacceptable? Like what kind of person or what kind of actions can you take for people to no longer be able to acknowledge the greatness of the actions you did in your sport or in your profession, or to completely erase those? Or, I mean, because it's not like we're sitting here saying, oh, you know, OJ Simpson should be getting $1 million for the rest of his life because of the things that he did for the Buffalo Bills. It's just a matter of honoring one of the people who led to your success, financial growth for your organization, so on and so forth. It's like, yes, he allegedly and was acquitted of committing said crime, but I mean, I understand the optics behind it, especially given the league as an organization, and the people who run the league being mainly white billionaires, the optics that come behind that. And I mean, there's just certain things that they don't want to be seen as not necessarily acceptable, but things that you can redeemable. I'd say something that you could be redeemed from, because that's what it seems like. It seems like they're treating this as an irredeemable act that he allegedly committed.
I don't think it's right, man.
And that's what I wanted to know. How do you feel about it?
I just feel like they're trying to erase this man's legacy. I mean, he's done so much for the Buffalo Bills. I mean, it's OJ Simpson.
I get it. I mean, like, I get it. Like, literally, like he's the all-time leading rusher in a season, given the amount of games that he ran in. Like, he rushed for like 1,800 yards in like 10 games, 11 games. Like, his that season is insane. It has been eclipsed since, but we're now playing 17-game seasons, and everybody who's passed his record did so in much more games than OJ Simpson did. So OJ Simpson had one of the greatest seasons of all time, one of the best careers of all time too, especially for the Buffalo Bills,
and it should be acknowledged.
I think that especially given that, again, that he was not officially charged, you know, he was charged, but he wasn't officially convicted of these crimes. It's like, how much can you hold that against his professional accolades and achievements as far as it comes within your franchise? So I think that's a deep conversation. Yeah, it's a deep conversation. It's something that we'd like to hear y'all talk about in the chat. And
Barbecue says the Bills did the right thing.
Hey, and some people are gonna feel that way. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, but I think we should maybe even make this a clip and throw this up on the social media and see what the people think at large, and make this like a larger conversation. But because the question really becomes, how, like I said earlier, what kind of acts does it take for you to no longer accept, you know, a person's professional achievements because of what they have done personally? You know, so like, how bad of a person do you have to be to no longer get acknowledge your great achievements acknowledged.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and we see that all the time, not just
We
in
do.
sports and politics and this
For
and
sure.
that. You know, you have all these people who make all these great achievements in the limelight, and all these secrets or revelations come out, down the line, and it's like, how much does it mar the legacy? So, like, what is the legacy of OJ at this point? Because it seems like his legacy is the alleged killing of his former girlfriend, and then that's pretty much the sum of who he is as a person. And whether he committed the crime or not, whether he's remorseful for it or not, I think that the question still stands of how much of an impact does that have on the achievements of the professional achievements for what the professional achievements are.
Right.
You know,
When I hear the name OJ Trey, what comes to mind? The Bulls and Knicks game, man. They interrupted the Bulls and Knicks game for the chase. And I never forget. Anytime I hear the OJ, it's like I remember watching that at my grandmother's.
I get it. Let's jump to the chat real quick. It seemed like a few people did want to chime in on that. And on some other things like Barbie Cat. We appreciate you as always, Barbie Cat. Speaking on Serena looking good, still got that serve. Yeah, it's definitely looking like it. I mean, we expecting some good stuff from Serena in a couple of days. Flow Express.
You got it. Flow Express.
Flow Express. I know a week or two ago I messed it up and I couldn't remember how I pronounced it. Flow Express. There are logical reasons not to honor him. Not a reason to play the race card over. Too much controversy for a business to want to deal with. I mean, but again, I don't think it's the honoring of the person as far as, we're just saying, oh, this is a great individual, this is a person who other people should strive to be like, versus acknowledging and highlighting the greatness of that one season or of that career professionally. I think that there is an ability to acknowledge the greatness of that professional career without maybe necessarily honoring the person if you feel like the person has done too much. I mean, because again, you say there are logical reasons not to honor him, but he was not convicted of the crime,
right?
So how logical is it to punish someone for a crime that the judicial system did not punish them for? Who are we to be judge, jury, and executioner when judge, jury, and executioner already said otherwise? So I think that's the point that I was making there, a bit at least. But I definitely get what you're saying. I definitely understand people who feel that way. And I wasn't, playing the race card or anything. I was saying it as far as the optics, and the race card definitely plays into the optics of a black man allegedly killing a white woman as far as white billionaires are concerned.
Thank you for clarifying that too.
Yeah, of course. So I think that it's definitely something to at least have a conversation about. And it seems like Barbie Cat is kind of falls in the middle a bit there. They say the Bills did the right thing.
OJ is in the statistics and record books. That is enough.
That is enough. Yeah, I mean,
you got the right to feel that way.
Yeah, definitely. I think, I think the question becomes, what is the purpose of honoring these legends? Because let's be real. Because again, and unfortunately, this does lean back into the race card. How many of the greats of sports, especially before sports were integrated, because there was a time when black people could not play professional sports. So how many of those greats that we still honor today cared about black people, or were fond of black people, or were allies of black people, and just because they didn't have some outward scandal like this, was still able to honor a person who many would view to be evil for those type of beliefs and thoughts? So I think there's a bit of a slippery slope there, how those things could get into. So what does it mean to honor a legend? Because I promise you there are legends who are being honored across all professional sports who should not be honored as people. Like people talk about all the time online, like Karl Malone and the kind of love that he's in. Even though it started to die down a bit, because I think the conversation online has started to get loud enough. But Karl Malone still gets regularly recognized by his franchise and by the NBA, even though he was found guilty of some pretty heinous acts that we won't get into. But I mean, so it's just a matter of, so like where does that line get drawn? And is it only when things become public that you're no longer able to be honored? or so like just where does that come in?
Yeah, it's deep. It's deep. Yeah, I knew this OJ was gonna get deep, but we gotta move on. We got a lot more to go.
For sure.
All right. Brandon
we got
Ayuk,
a few other things. Yeah.
The Brandon Ayuk drama, man. He's making himself look crazy.
Yeah, I seen something online that said Brandon Ayuk is the first player to get CTE from a torn ACL, and it's crazy.
So what happened? So San Fran voided his money, right? Is that the
So he got hurt.
Uh-huh.
Wasn't participating in rehab and stuff like that. Wasn't participating in team activities, trying to become better in the team facility, which is part of like what you agree upon with your contract.
Right.
Because of not showing up after a certain point, they were able to, almost legally, because it could have been fought. With the NFLPA, but Brandon Ayuk chose not to fight it.
Yeah.
But yes, the 49ers voided all his guaranteed
including
money
his bonus,
off
which was $24.9 million.
Yeah, he lost millions of dollars. Yeah, multiple millions of dollars in that. So they voided his contract. Still isn't showing up to the team. He's been demanding to be released for a long time. But is at this point pretty much just outwardly posting online. I don't care about the 49ers. I want to go. I want them to cut me. Somebody tell them to cut me. If they cut me today, I'll sign with the Commanders tomorrow.
He's saying they scared because he's going to be on another team, come back to haunt them.
Literally. Yeah, and he's liking and retweeting, reposting all these different things. Scared. And it's like he's kind of crashing out almost at this point.
It's not a good look.
And I don't think he had to go that route. So it's like he's going to – if he keeps it up, he's going to make himself truly unattractive to other teams. And I think there's already some organization that he's become unattractive to.
I'm staying away from him.
But it's definitely a weird situation either way. Because for the 49ers, it's like, this is a guy that clearly doesn't want to play for us. And at this point, we don't want him to play for us either.
Right.
But we can't just cut him and cut our losses because, even though we voided his contract, we still giving him so much money on that contract that it's like we have to get something in return for this failed investment.
It sounds like they have the leverage, financial leverage.
They do have the financial leverage. They have all the leverage because he signed a contract that he's still actively on. But it's definitely weird. And this is one of those player rights, team right things, especially when it comes to contracts, the CBA, collective bargaining, and how the language of all these things worked out. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out in its totality. But it does seem like it is the case that Ayuk is at the mercy of the 49ers right now, which is why seemingly he's doing all this verbal outcrying. Because like if I do enough, eventually they'll just let me go to cut their losses. They don't want to see more drama. At a certain point, they're going to have enough.
Right.
But is that point going to come before the point at which everything you've said have made you unattractive to other teams?
Right.
So it's an interesting situation. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, Flo Express says, you pray for that, man. Yeah. He definitely needs it.
I think he needs it, yeah.
All right, let's move on. The Sorby decision.
Yeah, a big one. I mean, and again, as we talk about the integrity of the game and what can be allowed, what players can do, what can't players do, what rights do they have, what rights do teams have against them. Brendan Sorsby is a kid that was set to be the starting quarterback for the Texas Tech Red Raiders this upcoming football season. Former quarterback for the Cincinnati Bearcats and also played for the Indiana Hoosiers, who are your reigning national champions. For those who don't know, it was discovered that he had essentially a gambling addiction, or what they're calling a gambling addiction, but what does sound like a gambling addiction given the numbers behind it. He ultimately placed thousands of bets that totaled hundreds of thousands of dollars in total bets made. And these bets weren't just arbitrary bets. He was betting on his team, though not maliciously, which is why this isn't like a Pete Rose situation.
Right.
He wasn't betting on his team to lose, but he would bet on them to win. So the optics of that is okay. If you bet on your team to lose, that's weird. So betting on your team to lose is always weird. And betting on yourself to underperform is things that, question the integrity of the game. But if you're betting on success and great success, it's still an issue, but it's not something that you can convincingly make an argument is manufacturable unless the other team is also involved. So Brendan Sorsby made those kind of bets, the kind of bets that were seemingly favorable to his team, but aren't the kind of ones that you would be able to manufacture the outcomes of. But it was still thousands of bets and hundreds of $1,000s worth of gambling. So he went through this whole saga. The NCAA said he couldn't play anymore. He tried to get an injunction on them. One judge recused himself, who was actually a judge from Lubbock County, which is where Texas Tech plays, and is located. So that's why he recused himself. But another Texas judge stepped in, took the case, and ended up saying that Sorsby could play. But that caused a lot of uproar in and of itself. There was an appeal. The appeal was denied. Then other schools, other organizations, the conferences themselves started to speak out. And it really became a matter of, at what point are we going to stand up for the integrity of the game? Especially given this era of NIL and the athletes no longer being amateur per se and making money off of this and whatnot. So at what line do we draw? At what point do we draw the line in the sand to say we cannot fold on this because this ruins the integrity of the game? And it seems like this is the line. Because all those counter lawsuits and threats from the other organizations ended up causing Brendan Sorsby to state that he was going to give up his attempt. And Texas Tech was fully behind him. They were fully backing his attempt to play this season, which was weird in and of itself because it can come off as almost predatory because Texas Tech isn't concerned about Brendan Sorsby as a person. They're concerned about the investment they put into Brendan Sorsby because they recruited him to their school. He transferred there to be their starting quarterback. And if he doesn't play, they're without a starting quarterback this year. So they're now set to be far less competitive this year than they were set to be because they were projected to be a playoff team or a potential playoff team. And now we're talking about a team that may not win 6 or 7 games, may not be bowl eligible. That's how big of a shift in wins this was talking about.
It's a big deal.
So that's why Texas Tech was fully behind them. But all the backlash ended up resulting in him foregoing this attempt to try and fight things and play this year. So he said, you know what? I'm going to give up on all that. I'll just go to the NFL. I'll submit the request for the supplemental draft, and I'll just start my NFL career. Well, NFL said no.
NFL said no. They said you got to wait till 2027. And the NFL, I heard, was reading, was going to look into it more, but they didn't want to cause distraction with other teams and stuff like that.
Man,
so
I should have had the Adam Schefter tweet ready with the full letter that they sent to Brendan Sorsby. But man, the NFL cooked in that letter, and they talked about a lot of good stuff about the seeming lack of accountability on Brendan Sorsby's part, the constant effort to dodge responsibility and still be able to play this season without any real consequences for such a wild act. I mean, because again, gambling is like the one real taboo, like, and that gets talked about a lot on social media. You'll see people talk about, the NFL, they won't punish you for domestic violence or for committing crimes, but if you gamble, you're gone.
You're gone.
So
they take
it very seriously, and they kind of put their flag even firmer into the ground today. Recently, in deciding that Brendan Sorsby wouldn't be able to. They aren't going to have a supplemental draft, and I mean, mind you, most years they don't have supplemental drafts, but it's also because most years they don't have players in situations that weren't able to get drafted originally, that teams would be willing to give up future draft picks for, because that's what the supplemental draft is. You're giving up future draft picks to get a player now. So they don't always happen. I think the last one happened in 21 or 23, and the last time somebody was actually picked was in like 2018 or 2019. So it's been so it's not like it was just a cut and dry, I'm declaring for the supplemental draft. A supplemental draft will happen. I will get selected. It wasn't a given. But they also cited the fact that instead of making that decision initially, he decided to draw out this process and do all this fighting, and to the point that his request for entry into the supplemental draft came 3 days before the deadline. So they were like, 3 days before the deadline, the fact that you did all this extra stuff, the fact that you don't seem to be taking accountability for your actions, you're trying to avoid the consequences of them, and also, we don't even have enough time to fully look into this. Because, I mean, you did it 3 days before the deadline, and the draft would have to be by a certain date. So they were like, all these factors, they say in the letter that all these factors have caused us to come to the decision that, no, we will not allow you access into the draft this year. and they said that he should focus on training to potentially, and they used the word potentially, join the league in 2027.
Yeah.
So crazy where things have gone for Brendan Sorsby, but they were 101,000,000% totally avoidable. If he didn't do what seemingly is the one thing that they say professional athletes shouldn't do.
It's not worth it.
And it's crazy because I mean I get the other side of it too, because like all these leagues are also endorsed, sponsored by, and in bed with these gambling companies, these sports books. So it's like they seemingly already have a conflict of interest. So it's like on the other side of it, it's like, who are these organizations to say that a person can't gamble when they're so tightly intertwined with these gambling institutions and sports books to begin with? Who's to say that the integrity of the game hasn't already been compromised by the people at the top?
Right. All right. Thanks for sharing that. All right, let's move on to our sports history moment. Brazil, let's see, 68 years ago today, Brazil won their first World Cup, defeating Sweden 5-2. That's a long time ago.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Brazil. I mean, and it's funny because
those were the Pele days.
A country that seems so tied with the sport of soccer now, you know. So shout out to this moment in history when they won their first one.
68 years ago today. All right, we're going to move on to our fashion segment. Before we get into it, we did a poll, and I'm going to need y'all to participate in these polls more weekly, y'all, if y'all could, when we do them. But basically, it was for the NBA draft. We had some fits, and we just wanted y'all to pick, who had the best fit. So we had 4 options, and let's go ahead and run. So those are the results.
Well, show them the options.
Let's see the options first, and we do the results. So that was the powder blue right there.
With the nice details on the inside of the coat. I think it was Puerto Rican heritage. I think it was.
Yep, that's exactly what it was.
So he gave a shout out, honored homage to his Puerto Rican roots with the design inside the jacket, which I thought was hot.
I thought it was hot too. I'm actually seeing that a lot more.
You are seeing a lot, man. Yeah, the custom,
like
custom
NFL players. Yeah,
can't remember who did it first, but it's definitely become a big thing now with these big artwork. Essentially inside of the draft to commemorate the moment and the life that led up to it. But yeah, that one was hot. So that's I ain't going to.
That was a powder blue. I forget.
That was a top contender.
That was a top contender, and then that's AJ.
Yep, the number 1 overall.
That
pick.
was black with the floral. That was pretty clean.
Yep, with that relaxed type of fit that you're seeing a lot more lately in fashion. The relaxed baggier pants, even in the dress. The fancy clothes.
All right, what we got next? Boozer, with the all white. I call that the classic white. Kind of like he did it like brown, but not as big.
Yeah, it felt like he almost didn't want to be unique. Like he wanted to do something, but didn't want it. He almost purposely didn't make it a statement piece. Like it's an all white suit. He has on brown shoes with it.
Right.
It's like I like the all white fit though.
Yeah,
but it was like
he
kind of like almost gave up halfway and tried. It was weird.
Right. I feel like it's too plain.
Yeah.
All right. What's the next one?
And then lastly,
okay, that's the double-breasted navy blue. It's not bad. That's not
European
bad.
Style.
Me
like
personally, I'm gonna have to go with 1. That powder blue floral.
That powder blue with the floral
the
inside.
That's
why I said I didn't want to spoil it. Yeah, even it was the first picture, but that was my pick.
Okay.
But let's see what the viewers selected.
Yeah, see what y'all selected.
Onto those results, everybody.
So 40%.
Yep,
powder
seemingly
blue.
agreed with us. Yep,
that's a 3-way tie right there.
Yep, for second place, but 40% powder blues. Okay. Sound like y'all knew what y'all was talking about. I did like the navy double-breasted though. That was probably gonna be my second pick.
Yeah,
black floral was nice too. White classic, like I said, as you could tell from my comments, was probably my least favorite. But my favorite one, so I'm good with that.
Okay.
One there.
And thank you for everybody for participating in the poll. We appreciate it. We got something else for the fashion segment. We got my brand up on there. So by our friend Fred Money, I sent him stuff he wears in the videos. He actually got J.R. Ryder a bucket hat, and he wore it in a video premiere. And it's just super big because I didn't even know that he was gonna, give him the hat, get him to wear it. So I actually got a clip of him wearing the hat, and we're gonna go ahead and run it for you.
Check it out, EBJ.
Whoa. K the boss. What we doing? Y'all know what we doing. Let's get to it. Look. Let the one that's goated talk. I have the new New York, sounding like the old New York. Right. I'm the Thunder Boss, I'm cut from the golden cloth. Call your underboss, tell them that it's over, boss. I've been showing out, I've been showing off. Niggas sold me out, so I never show remorse. I get to showing up like it's time to show support and show off like the show is off, or it's the promoter for. I'm on a private island and I took a boat across. On a dirt bike, styling like it's motocross. I put the Bentley on the road and you know it costs. You see, I'm sticking to the code like it's open source. Diamonds in the Jesus, make them hate Zeus. Wildin' in the same coupe, me and J. Coupe. Lot of stepping on this island like a state boots. I don't bend and I don't bow because I'm lame proof. Zeus.
Hey, that's what's up, man. Shout out Fred Money, JR Ryder, Jim Jones. I appreciate that, man. And then J. Coop. That's actually J. Coop featuring JR Ryder and Jim Jones. So shout out to them guys, man, rocking the brand. And I actually have some of these bucket hats on my website.
I was about to say, I think I got go get me one.
Yeah,
man.
I got some colors on there now. Y'all can go to my website, ebjrbrand.com.
That EBJR bucket.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. I got a lot coming for the summer.
Tough. Yeah, I need me one.
Yeah. If y'all want to grab one, I got some on there now, and I got way more colors dropping this summer. This is just the beginning, so stay tuned. But that was our fashion segment. I appreciate y'all rocking with the fashion segment. Let's go ahead and move on to final thoughts. Shout outs.
Yeah, man. Shoot. Final thoughts. What a show.
Yeah, right.
like this was one of the busier weeks for us, man.
I know, man.
It was breaking news at the breaking news at the breaking news.
Right.
Literally up until I walked in the door for the show today.
Right.
The Porzingis news dropped.
Right.
While we were on break, more news dropped. It was like it's been constant, and then
it's like I sent notes yesterday, but I had to add in more because stuff just keep dropping.
Don't forget this. This happened. Oh wait, this happened too. And it's not small stuff that's happening.
It's not.
So today was a wild show. It was a wild week prepping for it. But I'm thankful for it all.
Yes.
Thankful for you as always, man, for inviting me into your family and into your humble abode here. Shout out to you. Shout out to the people behind the scenes that make it all go. Shout out to my Lord and Savior for waking me up and making me go. Shout out to my loved ones. Shout out to my little girl, my lady, for being my wife. And shout out to my people in my village for picking me up when I need it, you know. So shout out to all y'all. Shout out to the viewers as always. Without y'all, there's no us. So as always, we appreciate it. We appreciate y'all in the chat. Flow Express, Barbie Cat, all the OGs, all the day ones. We appreciate y'all. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Bring them on in. We love to talk to y'all. We love talking to y'all, with y'all. And we'll be right back here again on Monday.
Yes, I'm talking about. Thank you, everybody. I want to thank God. Thank our production team. Thank you to my co-host, Trey. Appreciate rocking with you, man. I look forward to doing these shows. And we got a bunch more lit shows coming up, man. So y'all stay tuned for great shows that we're going to bring you. We got some guests coming on. I think next week we got a guest. And no, if not next week, the week after that, we got a guest coming. We got the soccer girls from Legacy SC pulling back up. But shout out to the fam, shout out to wifey, shout out to my mom, my sisters. Like I said, the production team, you know, appreciate y'all. Shout out again to Kira for that 5K. That is a big accomplishment. Shout out.
Big ups.
That's huge. That's huge. So next week we're gonna have more news because you know free agency is tomorrow, so it's gonna be tons of news.
Talk about. Yep. Thankfully, free agency wasn't today.
I know, right?
We had our hands full.
Right, we'd have to do extended show, but I appreciate y'all rocking with us. We'll be back at you next week. Y'all be safe out there. Stay cool. Stay hydrated. It's gonna be a hot week. Peace, love, and blessings.
Peace.